Hi guys, hi second grade. I want to show you the next project. It is a color theory project. So we're going to review primary colors and secondary colors. And the perfect idea for fall is pumpkins, fall pumpkins. So this is hanging up on the board. You can see these really cool pumpkins. The colors that I used for this project are purple, green, and orange, and those are the secondary colors. Well, how do we get those secondary colors? We use primary colors. So I could have easily given you violet, green, and orange for this project, and we could have just painted it in, but we need to learn about primary colors. So I've got some paints here. Ignore the white and the black, that's for another class. But you guys are going to get red, yellow, and blue paint today. And we're going to mix them together to make secondary colors. So red, yellow, blue, those are the primaries. Orange, green, violet, or purple, those are the secondary colors. So it'll be pretty fun. First thing we got to do is draw. So I'm going to put my camera down. And I'm going to I have to draw this upside down, so bear with me, but you should be able to follow along. So you're going to need a pencil, an eraser, and a small piece of paper, just like I have. I'm going to use a Sharpie because it's kind of hard to show on the video with pencil, but what's going to happen is you're going to use a pencil and then you'll Sharpie after, and they're going to look amazing, okay? So here's my paper. Make sure your name and code is on the back, and then let's get started. When the whole class is ready, you can pause the video, and then when the whole class is ready, we can begin. So go ahead and pause if you need to. If not, we're going to get started, okay? So we're going to draw some pumpkins, and when we think about pumpkins, we want to draw them realistically. Here's a not realistic pumpkin. Maybe when you were little you drew this. There's a pumpkin, right? It's okay. If I colored it in orange, we'd probably know it's a pumpkin. But that's not very realistic. We want nice, realistic pumpkins that look three-dimensional. So I'm going to get a new piece of paper. We're going to make some realistic pumpkins. So to do that, we're going to draw some dots. So the first two dots I draw, we don't want to go right on the edge of our paper. If you go right on the edge, you won't have enough room. You kind of want to go around the middle area. And we're going to make a dot and a dot on our paper. And if you make the dots really far apart, you're going to get a really big pumpkin. If you put the dots really close together, you're going to get a really small pumpkin. We want a good size pumpkin to start. We don't want to draw tiny ones. We're going to draw a big pumpkin, and then when you have space, you can make your other pumpkins. So if you watch, I'm not making a very big dot. One here. And I want to make it kind of high because I'm going to make a big pumpkin, and one here. Hopefully you can see those. I've got two dots, and they're right straight across from each other. Now we're going to make our pumpkin shape, and every line we draw is going to go from dot to dot. So I'm going to start at the top dot, and you kind of want to go up because pumpkins have these ridges on them, and they kind of go up, just like a heart shape. But we're not going to make a heart. We're going to make kind of a start of a heart, but then we're going to round it out. So I'm going to start at the top dot, and I'm going to go up and around to the dot. A lot of kids say it looks kind of like a C, which is perfect. So we have our C shape, and then I'm going to go to the other side. We're going to go up and around. And all pumpkins are not the same. There's pumpkins that are a little lumpy, pumpkins that are bigger or smaller or tall or short. So it's okay if it doesn't come out perfectly or if it does not come out symmetrical, because a lot of pumpkins aren't symmetrical anyways. So we've got our pumpkin shape. We need to add a stem. Stems come in all shapes and sizes, so there's really no right or wrong way. This is kind of a longer stem. And we need to make one more ridge on the outside. So normally, like I said, we're going to go to the dot, but this is the only exception. We're going to start at the stem, and we're going to follow that same shape, go around, but this time we need to go to the dot. So you can see the bottom here, it connects and touches. So same thing on this side. We're going to start here, go around, but as we get to the bottom, we're going to go to the dot. Sound good? Starting to look like a pumpkin. Now we're going to go from dot to dot. So watch me. We're going to go around following that shape, but make sure we go to the dot. Starting at the top dot, around to the dot. Starting to look like a pumpkin. The next two, I'm going to make two more. And that's about all the room I have. And if you get close to the end, just stop. Check it out. Isn't that awesome? Looks like a pumpkin to me. Now I've got some more room over here to make another pumpkin. I'm going to make a smaller pumpkin. So remember our dots went from here to here? I'm going to hop over, but I'm going to go a little bit smaller, and that'll make a smaller pumpkin. So I'm going to make one dot and one dot. A lot smaller this time, but not too small, because then it would be so tiny we wouldn't be able to paint it. So I'm going to start at the dot, going to make that C shape, or that kind of a heart shape, go around to the dot. And like I said, anytime if your substitute wants to pause the video, she can or he can. Start at the dot, go around, and together. Okay? There's our start of our pumpkin. Now we need a stem. This time I'm going to make a wide stem. Why not? Something different. And then we're going to make that outside line, the outside ridge, start at the stem, go around, but we want to go to the dot, so it's got to touch the bottom. So it starts wide and then it gets skinny. Here, around to the dot. Good. Now I need to make the inside ones, dot to dot. Dot goes around, kind of like crescent shapes. I kind of see little crescent moons in here. And around. And I can do two more. Curve, curve. Awesome. I'm loving these pumpkins. I've got a little more room here. In my example, I only made two. Oh, I know it's kind of big. Sorry. I only made two pumpkins. If you want to make a little baby one, I'm cool with that. So I'm going to do a little tiny one. I got some space down there if you want to make a baby. You should be pretty good at this by now, so I shouldn't have to go over this, but just in case, you got your C shape. You can go around, little pumpkin, stem, okay? Then we make that outside line, but remember, goes to the bottom dot. And around to the bottom dot. Now I gotta fill the inside. Around and around. And I can do two more. Around and around. Sweet! I'm loving these. These are beautiful. And I bet your pumpkins look just as good. So when you're ready, then you're going to get your paint. So you can pause the video and you can get your water cups. You're going to need your water cups and you're going to need red, yellow, and blue paint. The primary colors. Like I said, black and white, that's for the next video. So just ignore those. You'll just need these three. Okay? So, we obviously need orange for our pumpkins and a little bit of green for our stems, and that's about as far as you'll get because you do need to Sharpie marker this. So that's probably a good time to pause. And then when everyone has Sharpie markered, we're going to start painting. So, we have to color mix. When we color mix, I only want one student at a table to mix a color at a time. So your teacher can pick the student, someone who's nice and quiet, who's working hard, and then you can start color mixing. So we definitely need to make orange, and if you remember from previous time, we need red and yellow to make orange. Now yellow is a very picky little color, so we want to start with yellow first. But we need to make green too, and we need some of this yellow. So we're going to split the yellow in half. I'm going to make two piles. So whoever your teacher picks, this person's going to scoop up the yellow. And we need more orange than green, so make kind of a bigger pile and then a little pile. Okay? And I'm going to wipe my brush off, and then I'm going to wash it in my water cup. Now, the person that the teacher picks is going to make orange. So I'm going to take my brush. You don't need a lot of paint, okay? The paint I put on here is probably way too much. Just a little bit. If you see my brush, there's not that much on there. And then I'm going to mix. You can always add more red. If you add too much red, it'll just be red. So you can always add more if you don't get the right orange. But as you can see, this is a great looking orange. I'm liking this color. So after I mix, we are ready to make our pumpkins orange. So I'm going to set my paint aside so you can see my pumpkins, and you're just going to paint your pumpkins in. Don't worry about painting the stems. If you accidentally paint the stems orange, no big deal. But you can see that I'm painting my pumpkins as best I can. And if you go outside the lines, no big deal, because we're actually going to cut these pumpkins out and put them on a landscape painting. And that landscape painting is going to have green and violet in it. And also, if I get a good report from the substitute, you will also get to add glitter stars to your sky, because it's going to be a nighttime sky. So, but only if the substitute says they did a great job and they were nice and quiet and respectful, then you get glitter. Only the kids who behave themselves. Okay, I got one more pumpkin. I'm trying to go fast, but you guys can take your time. I've been painting a lot longer than you guys have, so I could probably go a little quicker. So take your time. The nice thing about Sharpie is it shows up even if you paint over it. So that's why I like Sharpie. Pencil doesn't really show up so good. So, almost there. There we go. So I've got my orange pumpkins. They look awesome. And like I said, if you go outside the lines, no biggie, because we were going to cut them out. So now I need to make some green. The teacher can pick a new student to make green, somebody who's doing a nice job. We need to make green now. So what two colors make green? Yellow and blue. So we're going to take some blue, not a lot, mix it in with the yellow. Check it out. Beautiful. It's a nice green. Okay. Next week we're going to make our skies. So we'll be making green again, and we'll be making violet or purple. So I got my green here. I'm going to move the paint away. I just need to do the stems. Oops, I kind of went into the orange, no big deal. You can always use your finger to wipe it off. Going to fill in this pumpkin stem and that pumpkin stem. And then you guys are done. So that is how we make secondary colors. You may, when you're all done, you may put this in the drying rack, get cleaned up. Make sure your water cups go back on the counters. Make sure your art's in the drying rack, your name is on the back, your code, and you, if you have time, you get to go to Activity Center. So hopefully you guys are having a great art day, and I'll see you back on Thursday. So have fun, second graders.